Every adversity brings with it the seed of an equivalent advantage. This is said by Napoleon Hill from the book Think and Grow Rich. It's an incredible book, and I wanted to go over with you today something that's been on my mind. It's about bad luck. So, how do you react when something does not go your way? Do you notice when something doesn't go the way you want it to go? How does your mind react to that situation? There's a big difference between reacting and responding, and I'd like you to take a note of that. Take note of how you react. You want something one way? This happens all the time, all day. Just notice it. When it doesn't go your way, how do you react? It usually bothers us, right? It feels we are resistant towards it. So we always want to get the opportunity or the positive outcome that we desire. Do you notice that? That when something goes somebody else's way, you're never satisfied. You're never like, awesome, I'm so glad that that person got that. You're always like, why didn't I get it? Why that person, right? So this is the idea of self-bias, right? We're always in favor of ourselves instead of what we view as competition, other people. Your coworker gets a raise or a promotion, and you're pissed off because you didn't get it. Things like that. So this idea about self-bias, I learned through Leo Gura with actualized.org, and he has a YouTube video about self-bias. I highly recommend you watch the whole thing, because this talk here is basically a breakdown of that idea, just a small kind of summary. So I want you to try to do the opposite of what you would naturally do when things don't go your way. Play this game with yourself. Treat it like a game. And it's a game of becoming a master of your emotions for a one moment. Watch when something goes against your wishes. Notice how it throws you off your center, and an emotional reaction comes up in you. Then do the counterintuitive move. Do the thing opposite of what you would usually do. Watch it. Okay? Watch that emotion and let it just slide on by. Like, imagine you just got shot in the arm, right? Or a mosquito landed on you. That's a good example. As a mosquito lands on you and it bites you and it starts sucking your blood, what's your initial reaction? You think, fuck this mosquito, man. You don't even think that. You're just like, die, motherfucker, right? You just instantly, right? You never think, oh, mosquito needs to live too. You never think that, right? You never think, poor mosquito. He's hungry. Bitch is gonna die if he don't suck my blood. You think, shit, I'm gonna get malaria. All right, you think, oh, motherfucker, it's gonna itch later. I'm gonna smack the crap out of this mosquito. Don't do it. Stop. Just once. Like, you don't have to do it every time. I'm not saying, like, become a masochist and someone, like, treats you like crap and just tolerate it every time. Just one time, Out of the multiple times when something goes against your wish, like a mosquito lands on you, just stay completely calm and unmoving and watch the negative reaction come and then watch it go away. Take some deep breaths. Master that emotion. Master the ability to choose how you want to react instead of choose how you want to respond rather than reacting. You get what I mean? So that's the counterintuitive move. This is going to be really difficult at first, but it is possible. It gets easier with simple things, and of course it's harder with more difficult things that you identify with more, right? Someone is mean to you, that's more painful. Someone's mean to your child, more painful, right? Some kid bullies your kid, and you want to be like, you little piece of shit, get the fuck off my kid, right? Stop. Don't do it, right? Just once. Let it sit for a second. Continues? Intervene. Carefully and gently, right? Without letting your emotions get the best of you. I'm not perfect at this. Don't get me wrong. I'm just sharing this information, but it's something I'm working on as well. This gives you real power and control over your life. When something crazy doesn't sway you because you're just calm about it. You have control over your emotions. So here are a few good concepts to remember. You never know if a negative thing will lead you towards a positive thing. So something negative happens, you lose a job. It's happened to me recently a couple times. Sucks. But hey, you have new opportunities. You never know. The next opportunity might be the best opportunity, right? Something new, something amazing in your life. Nothing lasts forever. So learn to let things go as they arrive. Don't hold on to them. Everything's gonna go. Eventually, your body's gonna go. It's good to learn to let these things go from small things slowly to more and more difficult things. Breathe deeply and wait one day before responding to a difficult situation. This one's a tough one, but when a really, really difficult situation comes up, try to do this. Just take some deep breaths, center your mind, and just try to let it go. Be like, okay, I will let this sit and I'll think about it tomorrow with a fresh mind, without all these emotions running through me. I'll let the emotions settle, right? When the water is muddy with all the chaos of emotions, you can't think clearly. Let the mud settle. When the mind is clear, you can think about it better. Ask yourself, how would someone who you really admire react to this situation? If they wouldn't freak out, react like that. Don't freak out. See yourself on your deathbed. Would this situation matter if you were dying? Most likely it's going to be a no. So think about that. Will your reaction make the situation better? This is a great one. If it won't, just don't react. If the situation is not going to be better by you reacting, don't react. Visualize how things could be better in the future and smile in the face of a bad situation. Visualize how things could be better in the future and smile thinking about that. Try to find the positive in the negative. Today, I got a parking ticket and I said to myself, I'm giving some charity to the government today for all their hard work. And I laughed. While the guy behind me, who also received one, screamed out in horror and walked around huffing and puffing. Two completely different reactions to the same exact situation. The universe doesn't see life as good or bad. Everything is a neutral experience, and we label them as good or bad based off of if it serves our own survival needs. Ultimately, everything is fine, and it's just an expression of the universe learning to understand its infinite potential, its infinite self. Our finite beings are part of this infinity and learning to understand how we are also that infinity. It's a really deep concept that Leo explains really well. Just wanted to give you a gist of that. Practice techniques to hone in on the present moment. Qigong, meditation, breath work, psychedelics with safety. I'm not saying take like a bunch of psychedelics when you've never done anything and then like have a horrible experience. I'm saying carefully. Listen to Leo on his talks about psychedelics. You have to be careful. These are not toys to play with, and they are illegal in many countries, so just be mindful, okay? Enjoy nature. Aloneness and silence. Expand your love from things you like to include more. Things you don't like, things you hate, things that disgust you, things you don't even care about, okay? Expanding your love to include a mosquito, to include loving a cockroach, is, believe it or not, beneficial and a part of our growth as human beings. So if you hate cats, learn to love cats. I know it sounds difficult. If you hate your next door neighbor, find some positives in the person and love him for it, okay? He's just trying to survive just like you are. I always remind my girlfriend that if she didn't have the life-threatening disease she had, we would have never met. And our baby would have never been born. This perspective makes her more accepting of the fact that positive things can come out of what seem to be horrific negative situations. So, obviously, her having a life-threatening disease is horrible. But our baby is born. See that? See what I'm talking about? Try to think of a time you had a bad experience and how it led you towards something great. Or a lesson that really helped you out. Wisdom that wouldn't have been there if you hadn't gone through that horrible situation. I can think of a bunch. I'm reminded of my battle with anxiety and addiction to cigarettes and marijuana. I had a choking incident in the car with my friends, and it traumatized me to the freaking core. After that, smoking would bring up only anxiety, and I couldn't feel good while I was high on marijuana. It sucked having to quit. I couldn't do it. Till this day, it has been a battle, and this happened like 7-8 years ago. I still every now and then get the craving to want to smoke when I'm with friends, and I do it. Sometimes it's okay, and then I think that I'm fine, but eventually if I smoke a couple times too many, I get really bad anxiety and have a panic attack again. So it's just huge lesson, right? It's really unfair, right? I could say, this is really unfair, but maybe it's for the best. How do I know? Sure, the smoke's not good for me. A lot of people like to, talk about how benefits of marijuana, but you never look at the negative effects, right? You never look at how it makes you stupid in the moment and you forget shit because you don't want to see those things, right? You only look at the positives. It relaxes me. It does this. It does that. It gave me anxiety, so had to stop. Anyway, it was necessary for me to quit. And it was a necessary push. It allowed me to get away from those habits that were slowly killing me, basically, is what I'm trying to say. There's a really good Zen story, Taoist story, that I want to share with you. I'll do it in another video because this one's taking a while and I don't want to take too long. But Taoism teaches us to observe things come and go, the impermanence of life, and not clinging or judging it. Every moment is a blessing, a chance to learn, to exist, to experience something unique. It might be joyful, might be miserable. And misery, boredom, depression, and anger are all important emotions. You see? They help us discern and move towards the ones that align us towards our truth, who our higher self wants to become. Sadness accepted is a beautiful thing, believe it or not. But when emotions are denied or unexpressed, they fester and morph, becoming toxic and destructive. Held on to long enough, they fester and they manifest into chronic diseases like cancer, dementia, schizophrenia, although this can be genetic as well. So nothing is black and white, is what the point of this topic is. We must understand that to live life fully and joyfully, we must accept that which is the case. Become friendly with the present moment instead of trying to hide or run towards some other distant future where all our problems are solved. The key is acceptance and love. And we have a long way to go for that. You see, I know someone who is autistic and doesn't have the highest IQ and has to study like a madman to get good grades. But he studies really hard. He reads a lot of articles and lives authentically. Would you say autism is such a bad thing, knowing that this person is doing well and has some very unique abilities most don't? When you accept and understand your so-called shortcomings, you will realize that the only shortcoming is the thought in your head that you're not good enough or able enough. See? Every adversity brings with it the seed of an equivalent advantage. Ponder about that. Think about that for a while. And I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for listening. Much love. Living and loving and leveling up. Have a good night.